Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet?
I love people as I meet them one by one. People are just wonderful as individuals. You see the whole...
My great aspiration, my greatest ambition is to be so good. Now, in that way, I'm tiresome, as I suppose, to live with, because I want to be a fantastic human being.
I am the greatest. We're not disputing that, Cassius, but how does Sonny Liston feel about it? He can't feel but one way, and let's take everything I say and like it. Because February the 25th, I'm going to take back my job. I'm the champ. He's no champ. He's a tramp.
When you see men fall, don't laugh. Learn. Learn. Because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation.
Yo. What up? Let's get this straight real quick. Peace and blessings to everybody. Happy Tuesday. I hope all is well. We about to reach that halfway mark. I know. It's good to be back though. Happy to see y'all. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Shout out to my poets, my writers. You know the drill, the routine. I give my flowers out to all of you every single chance that I get. I thought this would be an interesting conversational piece. I just picked this one out of the hat, actually. But nonetheless, it should be good for discussion. Jason, he had a hiccup, so he won't be with us today. I got Sydney in the building. Do me a solid. Get comfortable, grab you something to drink, something to snack on. Another announcement for not Rick Mortis. Why am I thinking about Rick Mortis? Cryptic Creed Paranormal returns tomorrow, 8 o'clock. I'm back in rotation with that. I love that segment. So make sure you locked in. Let's go ahead and get Sydney up here. I got a clip that I'm gonna play for y'all. It's gonna explain everything. But I'm curious to know what y'all think about it. And it wouldn't really do too much justice if we didn't have a woman speak on this one. Someone that I don't think is bitter. So this would be good for some feedback. Anyway, Sydney, what's up?
Hello.
Monko.
How are you doing?
Good. How's everything going? How's the neighborhood? How's just all the stuff going on out there?
Not too bad. My mom came in to visit yesterday, so it's been fun. She's been hanging out with my son, and his birthday's coming up, so I got him a variety pack gift, and so I'm having him open some of them with this grandma, and then some of them with Mick's mom. That way, they both can have a birthday celebration with the kids. So he did that today. So he's been running around with his new little animal toys. She, as you can see, is just being a menace right now, and she's like, "Oh, you're right here. So am I. I'm just gonna make this podcast about me and my orange hair."
Always good to see the little one, man. And just in case I don't get a chance to say it, happy birthday. You know, I remember getting toys, man. I didn't care what it was. It was just awesome. Like, let me play. I stayed and played with that stuff all day. I ain't even care about the TV. This is a different generation, though. The TV and the tablet and the phone, that is their Christmas. That's their birthday and all that. I was playing with my dump truck, my Tonka toys, but
he has a big vintage Tonka truck, and that's like his favorite thing. He always wants to bring it in the house, but it's huge. It's like probably longer than my laptop, and I never want that thing in the house. But he's always like, "But I want it." I'm like, "You have like 40 other cars. Why can't you just use those instead?" But I always love watching them interact with their new toys, and it's seeing how they use it, like interact with it, and what they end up coming up with for their toys. Like they create all the different scenarios, and I always love seeing that, especially nowadays with how the internet has robbed people of creativity. I like seeing that, like, fresh, wide-eyed curiosity, excitement for something that's not a TV show.
Right. Well, speaking of which, I have a video that I'm going to play here for everyone. And it's not a guy shaming women. It's not a guy calling women out. It's not a guy calling anyone out. This is actually the words of an actual woman calling women out. And actually, it's a woman who is speaking on this. So, two things that I want to try to accomplish today. The myth of the wall. When you hit a certain age and you start regretting life, and you start regretting your decisions, and you start thinking about everything that you could have done differently, and now you are here crashing out on social media and in front of hundreds and thousands of people looking for sympathy. That's the road we're going down today, folks. I hope you're not sensitive. I hope this doesn't trigger you. It shouldn't if it doesn't apply to you. But yeah, this is, I can't remember. This is a solid 3-4 minute video. So just out of fairness, I'm going to let it play all the way through. That way you can't say that, oh, you hate women, or it's one of those. No, it's not even like that. It's not even about that. So let's get into the video. I'm going to go ahead and play it. Do me a solid, share, like, let the people know that we are on. And let me bring this on screen.
Having a day.
Start it over at the beginning. And we got action.
Y'all frustrated me on that last video where I talked about everybody having a day where they hit the wall. And y'all.
Uh-oh, hold on a second. I see what I'm going to have to do here. I'm gonna take this off the screen real quick. I'm gonna bring it back up and start it over. I don't know why. I'm gonna have to talk to tech support about why that happens. But let me see if I can kind of explain this real quick. So what's happening here in this video, apparently this isn't her first time speaking on this. You know how you make a video and then there's a number of folks that respond underneath your post, whether they agree or disagree. But based on what I heard, people weren't really too happy with what she had to say about it. So she ended up making another response video to it, which is what led us up to this point. So it kind of botched on me as I was playing it the first time, so I'm going to spin back on it.
Frustrated me on that last video where I talked.
All right, I got it back up. Let me get this back in here real quick. All right, we got action.
Me on that last video where I talked about everybody having a day where they hit the wall, and y'all acting so confused as if you don't know what I'm talking about, or acting as if you exempt from it. Most people, if we asked you to pull up a picture of what you look like 15 to 20 years ago, maybe more years ago, you don't look anything like that no more. Like, be so for real. Like, if we asked you to pull up high school pictures and we took the high school picture and compared it to what you look like right now, you don't look like that. Your 20-year-old pictures to what you look like right now, you don't look like that. So for you to think that you have the same options that you had back when you looked your best, it's crazy. The fact that you even want to argue that. Like I said in my comment section, the truth is when you log out. You know when you log out what the options that you have to choose are. You know when you're on the date now app swiping on men who don't swipe back on you. When you go out with your friends and nobody shoot their shot at you. In your DMs, you ain't got nothing but a bunch of dudes that want to smash. Like, you understand that. As a man, you understand having to lead with your wallet. Girls not paying you not a lick of attention until you tell them what you can buy and what you can do for them. And then that's when they'll show you a little bit of attention and tolerate you. Like, you can get on the internet and cap all you want to, but the truth is in when you log out. I think women have a harder time processing this than men. I think men understand that they longevity, once it ends, that they have to compensate with money, but not women. For some reason, y'all women really will lie to y'all self, and that's the only person you lying to, because we don't believe you. It's only you that you lying to. You lie to yourself and tell yourself that you still have the same currency on the dating market that you always did, and you know that that's not true. You know absolutely that that's not true. You know that you are going to have to settle if you want a man at this point. In some way, you're going to have to, because you're not the same woman that you used to be. A man is having to settle if he picks you. And that's no disrespect. That's just life and what it is. But to get on this internet and act like every woman is out here beating mother time like a Bernice Burgos, it's not happening. It's not happening. That woman is an exceptional exception to the rule. She has defied what aging is. Like, the woman is absolutely gorgeous and can give 20-year-old girls a run for their money. Most women can't. Most women can't. I don't care how many women you can name that you personally know who look good for their age. It's the difference between looking good for your age and you looking your age. Some of y'all, you may look good for your age, but you still look your age. Like, nobody's confused about how old you are. Like, nobody's going to put you beside a 20-something-year-old girl and the men are going to be confused about who the 20-something-year-old girl is. A lot of women, yeah, that could be the case, but most is not. Most is not. It's you're delusional. And the man will always pick the younger girl over you. The best thing is to not care about the fact that there's a wall. But you can't deny that it exists. You cannot deny that your appeal to the dating market is not the same the older you get. It's just no way that you could even think that anybody believes that you believe that. I don't care how many pookies will smash. That does not equate to the men that you like liking you back. Let me say that again. I don't care how many pookies will smash that does not equate to the men that you like, the men you want, the men you want to be in a relationship with, that does not equate to them liking you back. The men y'all actually want do not want you. That's the case for most women. Because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be online running your mouth, right? If you were actually being able to pull the men that you wanted, you were able to attract the men you liked and wanted to be with, you be with them and you wouldn't have nothing else to say. The wall comes at different times for people. You got dudes who lost their hairline at 22. The wall hit them early. You got girls who may have had babies, maybe didn't have no babies, but your body don't look nothing like it used to look. Your face don't look nothing like it used to look. The wall came for you early, and if some people didn't last for a long time, they can be into their 40s and 50s and still look good. You may look good for your age, but you still look your age. Don't ever get that confused. And let me just say this last thing before I go. There's ways of helping yourself out when it comes to this. Keeping your weight under control, keeping your looks together, your hygiene, your teeth, your skin, your hair, like keeping yourself up. This is going to help with pushing out the longevity of your currency on the dating market. But if you want to let yourself go and not do nothing and just end up looking nothing like you used to look, then oh well. Don't complain when your options are limited, because you can't make nobody want you at where you at. If you comfortable at where you at, great, love that for you. Pat yourself on the back, but you can't force other people to have to accept it. If you want better options, you have to become a better option.
Oh, it's going to get real, or it already got real.
We could edit it right there. She just did the podcast for us.
I know, right? You dropped a whole dissertation. You didn't hear it from me first. You heard it from her. So we're gonna do it like this. Let's break down what she said first, and then give our own viewpoints on what the wall is. What was your overall thought process on what she said? Do you agree with what she said? Do you disagree with some things that she said?
Definitely. As she was going, I was like, okay, all right, let's go. Like, I loved a lot of the stuff she was saying, and some of the lines that she dropped were amazing. There was one that she kept saying, just because, like, you might be trying to look a different age, like you're trying to defy your age with all of the stuff that you're doing, but you're not making yourself look your age. Like, you're making yourself look even worse than your age. All these people that are getting all of these procedures done and putting all sorts of creams on their face, it's like you're not actually making yourself look your age. You're making it look kind of worse in certain respects. Or it makes it obvious that you're trying hard not to age yourself. So I really loved those points that she made. I also really enjoyed the aspect of women don't, like, you can't avoid it. There's no way of getting away from the wall. Like, you're eventually going to hit a point where your as it's scientifically called, your sexual peak has been reached. Every animal has that, because there's a certain time period that animals are most able to safely have children. And that is, for us, that time period. Once we hit our 40s, it's no longer really safe for us to have children. It's also no longer safe for the children to be born to people of that age. And so that's why there are those limitations put on bodies, existing living bodies, because it helps maximize the babies they're able to have safely in the future. And so that stuff is there. It's not something that culture has invented for us. It does exist. It's something that every person who lives to an old age is going to have to go through. And as she said, it's not that there's anything wrong with it. It's the women that are afraid of it and are trying to avoid it or trying to ignore it. Those are the ones that are kind of hit over the head with it, because they're trying so hard not to let it happen to them that when it does, it's like devastating to them that they weren't able to withstand the aging process. Oh my God, I wasn't able to stop something that happens inevitably. And I definitely see that as being a huge component, where it's not so much the fact that it's happening that's upsetting to women, it's the fact that it's almost that we're conditioned with social media and with I think honestly it's more so marketing, and then social media just kind of followed in suit. But the marketing industry really, really wants women to believe that all you have to do is buy the right number of products, use the right products, and then you'll be able to defy aging. You'll be able to look young for the rest of your life. You'll never have any of these issues. You'll be able to live happy and comfortable, and nothing will ever go wrong as long as you buy the right products. And that, I think, has deluded a lot of women into thinking that's actually true, that they can buy their way into a happy, lifelong, young existence, and are completely disappointed when that doesn't actually happen. I think also Hollywood has a huge component to that, because it also contributes to the not delusion, that sounds really harsh, but like there's this idea that like, oh, the old woman could still get the young man, like even after she's had her kids and whatever, like there's still, and it's possible there are still men that are interested in older women, but from what I've seen, it's not older women that are just sitting around the house and not doing anything. Like typically when men are after the older women, they're after the older women that are like still doing things, that are still like running a business or professor or traveling or whatever. Like it's not so much that people want people that are physically attractive. That's a component, but people want people they can live their life with. And if you're heavily focused on your appearance, no matter what age you're at, you're going to be very undesirable, because nobody likes a person that's obsessed with themselves, that's self-centered. And because you can't do anything with people that are self-centered and focused almost entirely on their appearance, because you try to go anywhere and they're worried about messing up their clothes or their makeup or their hair or whatever. Like people that are obsessed with aging are basically in the same boat as the people that are obsessed with their beauty, because they are so anxious about letting it go that they're not willing to use it. It's kind of the same mentality as people that buy beautiful clothes but never want to wear them because they don't want them to rip or tear or whatever. Like you don't actually get any value out of it because you're so afraid to use it. It's kind of the same thing where some people are so afraid of aging that they don't actually get to enjoy anything because they're just like focused on preserving everything. So I think there's a couple different categories of women. I think there are those that have accepted it, that know that they're going to age, that they know that things are going to happen. So they're doing what they love. They're pursuing the things that matter to them. They're existing in the ways that make them specifically feel beautiful, but they're not really going to go out of their way to be all extra and stuff. And I think those are the women that typically also have the more successful relationships, because they've built their existence around who they are inside rather than externally. A lot of the women that she's referencing and that we're going to be talking about, those are the ones that have based all of their opinions on these ideals that I mentioned earlier, where your youth is everything, your beauty is everything, you need to have your looks to be successful and whatever. These are the women that are spending loads and loads of money just because they think that it's going to make them valuable in society. They're the ones that think that they need to have a younger man or a looker to be valuable in society. I've heard this so often where they'll be with their husband. They've been together 10 years, but then they feel that slight tinge of boredom or whatever it is. And then they want their hot girl summer. So then they leave their husband, and then they come back and their husband's done with them and has gone on with some other lady who's more interested in being with the kids. And then the other woman's like, what? But I thought Like, you just left me after all this blah 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 blah, and they throw it all away because they think that, oh, they're gonna have some hot young guy that's gonna be like, oh, look at you, like old fox, like you're so beautiful, I want to be with someone mature. But they're like, no, I want to be with the other 20-year-olds. And then they're all bothered, but they're like, what do you mean? Like, I'm just as great as a 20-year-old, even though I'm 40, because in their heads they have been tricked into thinking that they actually are, that all of those products are actually making them look younger and more desirable, and are beating out the literal biological clock that is within us. Um, so yeah, I agree with a lot of what she's saying. I see it a lot in the reflections of relationships. I don't know what percentage it is, but in relationships across the board, with in terms of age ranges, I see that happening a lot, where the woman will abandon her relationship thinking she's going to get something even better. And then she comes crawling back to the husband who had already gone for somebody different because she realized that it wasn't all that, and the world doesn't actually care for her like that. And once she has hit a certain age, they do kind of toss you aside. And they are like, I mean, there are 20-year-olds that I could have kids with. Like, why would I bother having it with a 30-year-old that already has 2 kids in high school? Um, my last point. This always makes me think of the song. Was it 1984? The one by Smash Mouth, or the one where I just remember she's dancing on the car as like a teacher, and yeah, and it's basically like her wanting to relive her glory days. But it always makes me think of that video.
So when I was younger, all I thought about was cartoons, and I really wasn't around children a lot. I was around older people most of my life, so I never gravitated towards the adolescent mindset of people. So for me, I was introduced to a combination of what it was like to be a kid, but I was around adults so much that it was kind of like, this is cool, but I want to go to a cabaret. Mind you, I'm like 6 years old talking about a cabaret. I don't know what a cabaret is. All I know is I want to go to them. I bring that up to say you can very well be affected by your environment just off of the adult that's around you. And I like what you said about makeup and their promise that it can keep you young forever. Because putting lipstick on at 7, 8 years old is crazy. Mascara, eyelashes,
And like 17 different powders on your. I watched makeup videos today, and they're literally like, they put this wash on their face, and then they wipe it off, and then they put a cream on their face, and then they wipe it off, and then they put a tincture on their face, and then they wipe it off, and then they put like a cream on their face again, and then they wash it off, and then they do another scrub. I'm like, what are you even putting on your face? Like, I'm watching their face get more red throughout the whole video. Like, as they put more and more stuff, their face is getting more and more irritated. I'm like, how does that not bother you? Like, I can't even stand when there's like soap residue on my face. How are you gonna leave all... And I don't think it actually helps. Like, I don't see what they see.
I guess they think that it's going to keep their skin from becoming wrinkled. It's supposed to keep their facial structure intact, that it doesn't get all like out of order, and I don't know what that is, but when I was younger, I thought I would live forever. I thought my pops would live forever. And he had a conversation with me when I was younger. He told me I ain't gonna be here forever. So you're gonna have to figure it out. I didn't know what he meant until you start getting older, and then you start seeing that what childhood is isn't the same thing as adulthood is. The dynamics of dating is not what Popeye and Olive Oil is, or Fred and Wilma. You know what I'm saying? We experiment a lot as children. You're curious about everything. And then once you get interested in something, you kind of lock into it. And then you want to explore further into your interest. Well, if I like this, I wonder if I would like that. And if all right, I don't like this, but I might like this. So you just build up and build up and build up over the years. But you know what comes with that. It's just no different than what you just said about makeup. You just keep piling on stuff. Just piling on stuff. But you ain't really doing anything other than creating like this wormhole of bullshit that's internally getting, what's the word I want to use for this? It's becoming mire for the soul, for the spirit. And it changes you. It turns you into something that you originally wasn't. But you don't really know that at the time. You just having fun. You enjoying life. You've never been told no before. You're used to getting everything your way. And you end up eventually thinking that's just how it's going to be forever. Until you start going to them funerals. And you start having to put them people in the ground. And it starts getting closer to home. Then you start thinking, oh shit. This is life. This is real. Oh no. I can't keep on, but I can't keep on pretending like I'm not them. Or maybe you think you are exempt. Maybe you think you are the one person who can cheat death, or that you can remain firm and fit at 70 years old. And there are a few people like that. There's not that many. But there's a reason why they are still in the type of shape that they're in compared to you. Like my grandmother was the same age as one of my neighbors, but my neighbor was still driving and everything. Still, my grandmother couldn't do that anymore. She wasn't in the same shape. I mean, that's just honest. Some people are active and others are more comfortable with where they are. And I think a lot of women specifically, they grew up accustomed to a certain lifestyle. And I'm not talking about financial things of that nature. I'm just talking about all types of forms of monetary gain through being accepted, by being admonished, by the type of love that you would get from people, uh, the industry gassing you up, telling you, oh, all you gotta do is apply this at 6 p.m. every day before you go to bed, and make sure you leave it on for 10 minutes, and then you rinse it off, and then you apply this. This is going to help exfoliate that and this, that, and that, and then you end up doing that shit repeatedly for 20 years. Men lie to you and tell you still look the way that you used to look, and you don't. It's a lot. It's just a lot. And I think the wall thing is just for me, it says, hey, come here. Reality check. This ain't it no more.
If men are honest with women too, the whole world comes for them. If men are like, I mean, yeah, you're different than you were when you're young, but I still love you the way that you are. Like, that's something similar to what my husband says to me. He's like, I mean, yeah, you're going to age, but I'm going to age too. Like, if men talk to women like that, even if it is true, they get so up in arms. The whole community of women, how could you say that about us? Oh my God, we have all this effort, and you think that we're just normal and blah, blah, blah. Like, good grief. That just shows that you do still have that insecurity in you for you to be reacting like that. To me, I've always had a very like casual feeling of aging, because to me, I've always been more drawn to the wisdom of older people. As a kid, I remember reading all books where the kids would go to their grandparents for advice. And I remember growing up thinking, like, how come nobody has grandparents anymore? Like, none of my friends, like, maybe they had a grandparent that would come over, but we didn't have the multi-generational families that I read about. And I always thought that was really strange. I was like, what happened in between the books that I'm reading and me existing that nobody really cares about the older generations anymore? Like, I was quite shocked to find out most people lived in homes when they got older, because I didn't have grandparents growing up, but all the stuff I read about them, it just went different to what I expected. And I think that's part of the problem, is this culture is so opposed to exposing themselves to aging that it's almost like a phobia, where we don't want to see it. We don't want to see it happen. We don't want to know that it's happening to people we care about. And we, God forbid, don't want to know what's happening to ourselves. And there's very few people that are very genuinely blasé about aging, like where they don't really care. I find myself in that category just because I don't know. I don't have that much. I don't care what I look like, I guess, in the sense that I do for myself what works for me. I don't really like. I stopped wearing makeup in college because to me, I just thought it was irritating. I'm like, you want me to get up an hour early and put random powders on my face that are just going to come off by the time I hit lunchtime, because I'm always like a face toucher, so I don't always wipe it off my face anyways. And then it's so expensive. You have to spend like $16 for just a blush or something like that. I'm like, it never seemed worth it to me. But then I grow up and I started realizing how many people actually do care about that. And a lot of them are quoting people that to me didn't even look that old, where they're like, I don't want to be in my 60s and be all wrinkly and have gray hair and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I've met plenty of people that are in their 60s and 70s that still have color in their hair. Their skin's not falling off their face. Like, they're not completely incontinent and stuff. Like, we have very unrealistic expectations of what age actually is and what it means and what you can and can't do. Like, people seem to think that as soon as you hit 50 or 40, your life is over and there's nothing you can do, and you have to go to a nursing home and people have to feed you and you have to eat nothing but dry toast and beans. Like, people don't seem to have an understanding of what it actually can mean to be that age. Like, I am surrounded by people that are because of Carol. I'm surrounded by people that are athletes in their 70s and 80s. There was a person she was competing with. He was from Japan. He was 104 and he was still competing in the worlds / the senior Olympics. Like, it's incredible what people of advanced age can do. It's just a lot of people don't take care of themselves in the right ways. Like, a lot of people will take care of their skin and their facial features, and they'll get Botox and whatever, but they don't do cardio. They don't lift weights. They don't go walking. They don't do running. Like, they don't do the things that actually help your body, that actually help you live a long time. So I think it's very ironic how, because we have this disconnect between what aging actually means and what actually happens to the body in aging, people get to the point where they are aging and they've done all the wrong things. So then they age badly, and it kind of like reinforces that belief that they had. I've seen this in even some of my friends where they have bad knees, or they have bad ankles, or they have issues with their health because of the way they ate or whatever. Like, there's so many things that you can do that can help your health later in life and allow you to actually be healthy. Eating the right foods and exercising is, everyone loves to be like, oh yeah, I know that, I exercise. It's a huge difference. If you compare even in hospital care, the difference between somebody that's exercising while recovering and who's sitting while recovering, the person who's exercising has wildly better expectations than the person that is sitting and doing nothing. If you have had a stroke or a heart attack and you walk less than 30 minutes a day, your chances of dying within the next year are like 50 to 60%. But if you walk every day, your chances are only like 10 to 15%. So we definitely do not do the things we should be doing to maintain our age. We want to do all the quick fixes, but nobody actually ever wants to do the actual things that you need to do to be healthy and to stay healthy. And that the woman that was doing this video, I actually wanted to point out, she looked very much like, it was actually hard to say what her age might have been, whether it was her 30s or 40s, because the way she dressed, the way she did her hair, the way she did her makeup, it was ageless. Like, it didn't make her look like she was a very specific age. But the things that you do to yourself, how you dress yourself, how you eat, the makeup that you do, those all will contribute to how you appear to other people. And if you make an effort to dress in a way that's timeless, or make up your face in a way that accentuates your features without exemplifying that you have wrinkles or other things, it can do some amazing things for you without you having to like go crazy and put all these like bright crazy colors all over yourself that end up aging you.
I think what people also forget too is your attitude. Like, ladies, I'm gonna tell you, man. I know TikTok and all these social media platforms kind of just celebrate the ratchet, boss babe, I am Xena the warrior princess shit, but no, that ain't it. As much as we got to repeat this, your attitude and the way that you are used to being coddled is over. Men have been lying to you for years because you can't handle the truth. SM, what's up? That's the reality. Men have been lying to women for way too long, like extreme. And you know why. You know why. We know why. A couple of things that I want to acknowledge. I want to put highlight on this one first, which was the attitude part. Me looking from the outside in, and I'm looking at a pretty girl or a beautiful, aesthetically looking woman, constantly getting the door open for her and constantly being able to shuffle a roster of men at any given moment just off of, well, I can pick him today and I can do this with him tomorrow, and you can have a nasty ass attitude with all 4 or 5 of them as you please, because we treat women like they are the most valuable asset on the planet. Like, if I had to give you an example, you got You got money, you got cars, you got your clothes, you got phones, you got the rocket that goes into space. You got name something that is extremely expensive and valuable, and it still wouldn't amount to the value that women have. Women are living, breathing, walking pieces of jewelry. And I mean that in the most respectful way. You have something that does. The only difference between you and jewelry is you come with age and mechanical issues later on. Like if you had a diamond necklace, that diamond necklace is not going to wear out or get out of form, and you can keep, like, it's gonna, when you die, it's still gonna look the way it did when you were still wearing it around your neck. That's the only difference. But we put more worth and value in women for what? It's not just because of the sex part. Don't get it twisted. It's because of what you are and what you represent. You are the yin or the yang to our yin. You are the rib from us. There's way more to it than what you think it is. And like, you know this, and because we hold more value on you than we hold value. That's why guys go to jail. They crash out in the comment section fighting over women and fighting over sexy red. Y'all be embarrassing yourself. We really will go to the ends of the earth for a woman. That being said, you're just used to it. It's like for you it's just automatic. You can just swipe and then just get paid automatically. That's why everything comes so easily to you. And so I think that part has made you so horrible. It turns you into this emotionally unavailable person that don't know how to love, don't know how to respect or show admiration or appreciation for men in general. I made a post earlier and I was asking, why don't people care about men being abused? And every guy, the majority of my responses have been from men. And I'm gonna tell you right now, every single one of them said, because nobody give a shit about men. Don't not a single one of y'all care about how we feel or if we going through. One post.
I've heard the incredibly callous comparison saying, well, if a man was abused, then he deserved it, where if a woman was abused, it was only because she was helpless.
Yeah. It's those little things, man, that you not giving a shit about how men feel. The modern world as it is, the culture as it is, the way that things are set up right now, that shit has created a monster. And within that belly of the beast, you see women like Tia Mari crashing out. She went and divorced her husband, thinking she didn't even divorce him because he cheated on her. She divorced him because she got bored. He never even spoke about why they got divorced. He gave her what she wanted. And now she's out here crashing out. She don't know what the hell to do with herself. She didn't have no real reason to divorce that man. she all on social media trying to dress like she's a video vixen. She ain't even got the body for it. She ain't ugly, but she ain't what she was on Sister Sister. And a lot of y'all are doing it. She put her ego and her celebrity and what she was accustomed to growing up in front of her, and her needs were more important than him. She got bored and she thought that she could just go back out here and find something younger and more exciting that was going to actually love her the way she needed to be loved. And then that's why I say, like, everything that you said was spot on, accurate with the aesthetics, and that's a huge part of it. But your attitude and the way that you perceive men and the way that you view the world and life, that's what makes hitting the wall the hardest. That has to be, because you went your whole life thinking that shit was sweet, and now you got to come back to earth and adjust to the reality that what you were seeing is not what it really is.
I think to add on to that too, it's also their perception of their own value, like where they believe their value lies in society, where they fit in. Because if a woman has based her value solely on, I need to get views, I need people to see me, to like me, I need to be beautiful, I need to be like a man's woman. Once she hits the wall, she's going to be, in her mind, at least subconsciously, functionally useless, because now she no longer has a purpose, because her purpose was to be an object to somebody else. But if a woman has made her value around having children and running a family, the hitting the wall will feel different. If a woman has centered her life around her career, that wall will also hit different. So I think there also is an element of what the woman has deemed important in her life and what her pursuits are. Because if she has built her pursuits mostly around her physical capabilities and her physical appearance, the wall is going to hit her a lot harder than somebody that has intellectual pursuits to go back on. Because if you have things that are distinct from your aging process, you're going to continue being who you are, and it'll be easier to transition to a new type of life. Whereas somebody that, like, I don't know, just the most extreme example, somebody who's a model and into pageantry and whatever, and then she ages out. Now she has to restructure her whole life. She has to figure out, well, what do I care about? What's my career? What are my hobbies? What type of person do I want? Because her whole life was built around, like, this is how you need to look, this is how you need to dress, this is how you need to eat, and once that's gone, her direction's going to be gone. She's not going to have, unless she has some other thing that she's passionate about, she's going to have to redefine who she is. And that's part of what can make hitting the wall so extremely excruciating, because number one, there's one element where you're going to hit the wall, you might not know who you are anymore, you might not be able to do the things that you used to do anymore, but it could be an added level of pain if, like, it's combined with the women that I'm going to leave my family and divorce my husband and find a different man because of my friend group, like they were telling me to go do these things. Like, if she completely self-destructs her life while she's also hitting the wall, that's going to make it way, way worse. And I think that's what some women are doing, is they're hitting the wall and they're panicking and they're like, I need to let go of everything because I don't know who I am anymore. I need to go find myself. And by the time they realize that it was just a phase and that they kind of just freaked out, it's too late, because they already exploded their family. Like, their husband wants nothing to do with them. Their kids don't trust them. Like, so I think that's part of it, is having something else to hold on to, understanding that it's a phase, understanding that your life isn't over because you're a different age now. Um, but yeah, I think there is that element of like they're not really thinking. At least the ones that panic about it, they don't seem to think about the repercussions of what they're doing. At least in the senses of the ones that kind of leave their family to do this type of mental work. Um, but yeah, I think having a purpose in life is going to make the difference between it being an excruciating process and it being just another learning experience.
When it smacked you in the face, you're not gonna like it. And I see it so clear in some people. That ain't got nothing to do with you, fellas. It ain't got nothing to do with your family or none of that. Once the truth comes to the forefront, and it's like, no, everybody, like, this is how you know when you don't get the same privileges anymore. When they don't talk to you as sweet anymore, or they don't let you get away with the same shit that you used to get away with at 21 and 23, when you start getting held accountable for the stupid, silly shit that you say out of your mouth, when you start getting put on the back burner, or you're not getting those immediate responses or those text messages or those phone calls. And what Sydney said is absolutely 100% correct. You can't rely on your looks forever. I don't know what it is. And this ain't specifically about relationships in general, but you're going to have to bring more than your body, especially if you want to get married or you're looking for something serious. You're going to have to do a little bit more digging, because you might think every guy out here in the world is weak, but there are a lot of us that have discipline. And your attitude will absolutely make us cut you off and not even think about it. You're arrogant, you're too cocky. And that's why the humbling hits you a lot harder than it does us, because we're already accustomed to rejection. We all of us know we ain't the most attractive in the world. All of us know, it's going to take a lot more than us having a good sex game to keep you around. It takes a whole laundry list of attributes, and there's, like, if I could give you three, I'm gonna give you three. I'm gonna pass it to you because I think you wanted to chime in. So personality is on the top of the list. Personality, that includes wit and intellect. So when I say personality, I'm talking about all of that in one. Spirituality and health. Those are the three core attributes that men understand they need. Those are attributes that women absolutely need as well. I know you wanted to chime in. I yield.
That I'm glad you brought up the wit, because that is a huge component that a lot of women neglect. Is they focus so much on their appearance that they neglect their personality. Like, I have had to do this work for myself. I've had to do personality changes because I have a history of being a know-it-all and kind of insufferable sometimes if I think that I know better, and that is something that a lot of women share. And if you are not brought to the attention of that, it can escalate into you becoming very, very obnoxious to a lot of people around you. And if you're a woman that doesn't like to hear that you're doing something wrong, it can be very difficult to cultivate a successful social circle around yourself, because people don't like that behavior. But also, one of the things you brought up, which made me think of, one of the delusions, I guess, that women believe is like, oh, men are like hypersexual. They're sexual for the rest of their lives. Like that's what they are. That's all they want. Women forget that men also have a decrease in testosterone in their 40s and 50s, and even they have a decrease in interest in relations in bed. And in their 40s and 50s, psychologically in a man, it actually becomes slightly less important to him. Once a man hits 40s and 50s, there's a shift in their brain that makes them more nurturing and more family oriented. And so through their 20s and 30s, men are more focused on getting out with as many women as they possibly can. But once they hit their 40s, that is their time period to feel the need to settle down. That's when they feel the urge to be there for their kids and be there for their families. That's why you typically see what men, if a man is married in his 40s and 50s, it's far less likely for him to get divorced than if he's in his 20s and 30s. And so I think that's another thing where the women will expect that the men are going to continue to be the 20-year-old men that they knew. And then they are like, wait, you don't actually want me for my body? Like, you'd rather just be at home with the kids? And like, I think it mind boggles them. Like, but that's not what we're taught. Like, they should just want me for my body. Like, I should just be able to throw myself at them and then they want me no matter what. And they're like, wait, they want me to be rational and have a good personality and they want to be able to spend time with me? Like, I don't understand. And so I think there's an element of the expectations are so wildly off, and their understandings, the men's understanding of women and the women's understanding of men is so far off. Or I guess in the women, I think men do understand women. It's just they understand in a way that they're like, I know it enough to not try and get involved. Like, if she's upset, I know enough to not do anything about it, because I know that it's better for me to not do anything than for me to try and do something. And so I think men do understand women a lot better than we think. But women don't understand that men understand them. So I think that's kind of what the problem is. Like, the women don't get it that men have figured us out already. Like, you guys aren't stupid. You know, sadly, as much as we think we're not, we're very simplistic. We want the same things mostly across the board. Like, we want to feel good about ourselves. We want to feel supported. We want to feel like people are listening to us and valuing our opinion. But I think a lot of women are kind of still in the mentality of like, men don't know anything about us. They're just like off in their heads, not thinking about anything except football and beer. Like, yeah. So I think we kind of have to bring the two sides together again to make people understand like where we're actually at, and that men truly just want peaceful lives with people that they care about, and most men don't actually want to just go out there and screw over women just for the sake of it, and like, oh yeah, the enjoyment of being able to be with as many women as possible. Like, there are people like that, but it's not as bad as social media likes to make it seem like it is.
I mean, if we really break this down, let's be honest. Our upbringings are completely different. And, this has been discussed a lot. When boys are brought up, they're brought up to take bumps and bruises. We are told that we need to know how to plan. We need to know how to take losses. We need to know how to bounce back from losses. We need to know how to be strategic. We need to know how to pay attention to detail. Like if you're really under the right type of guidance, you are supposed to know how to fold laundry, do your own, create your own meals, clean up your bed, clean up your room. When you get into altercations and situations outside in the street, there's certain things that you need to understand about the street versus being in the house. Stand up for your siblings, stand in the gap for defenseless people. There's a lot of pressure that is put on boys way before they become adults. We still get to be kids where we used to be able to still just be kids, but you still had more of a responsibility than girls did. Girls didn't have to go through a lot of that hardship. Hell, even in school, as girls, you still didn't have difficulties with the boys. You know what I'm saying? So we've been taking losses all our life from the minute we started hitting puberty and dealing with bullies and the political social status quo pro, whatever you want to call it, the shit that you had to deal with from elementary to the point that you got out of high school. Men always had the pressure, the world on their shoulder. Girls did not have to go through the same things. You weren't getting jumped every day. You got into fights, but you weren't getting your ass beat all the time. You wasn't getting horrible grades in school all the time. You weren't bullied all the time. You got bullied, you didn't get the same intense ramifications behind that as we did. We had to deal with bullies, we had to deal with sports and the pressures of being a reflection of our parents, and like all that made us have to know you more. We had to be more in tune, because if the whole idea of being a parent is you don't want your children to go out here naked. And I'm not talking about physically naked. I'm talking about mentally, spiritually naked, where you just don't know shit. You just go out here thinking that everything is just a party. No, we couldn't do that.
Just from noticing how my classmates' parents have talked to them, I also remember like boys were coached to like, when you're a husband, you have to be like this. So you have to act like this now so you can practice when you're older and you have a wife and whatever. Where I've heard women coached almost the exact opposite, where they're like, oh, you don't have to worry about that because one day you're going to be married and your husband will take care of it for you. Like, oh, you don't have to worry about doing those things because that's something a man will do. And I went to a Catholic school and we did have some of that gendered type of, it wasn't as bad as other places. Like I was pretty blessed to be in a more like one heart, one world type of Christianity rather than the like the type we're seeing more now. But they would tell us like, oh yeah, if you're a woman, these are some of the jobs you can look at. If you're a man, these are the type of jobs that you can look at. And they would have us do like job personality tests to see what you'd fit in. And automatically the women had different questions than the men, because they're like, oh, well, this is typically what women would do. So the men would be more likely to do these things. So I think now that we're kind of out of the, I was raised by a generation that was born and grew up through the 50s and 60s. So I did definitely get a different perspective than I think some people with younger parents might be getting. But I am genuinely curious to see how things shift now that social media is prevalent through our whole lives, rather because with us it wasn't introduced until later. I remember having a lot of lessons in school teaching us about like photoshopping photos and how people are making ads to get you to look at them and whatever. Like we'd learn about like how advertising works and um, their tactics and stuff like that. So we were very media aware of what they were doing to manipulate our thought processes, but the younger generations aren't getting those. However, they are also surrounded by this stuff 24/7. So it, I don't know, I feel like it's either going to go one way or the other, where they're going to be really good at picking up on all the falsehoods that are being portrayed, or they're going to be so inundated with them that they're not even going to be able to tell the difference. But I'm definitely curious to see how the changes happening to these current generations are going to affect their own process of aging, their own um, perspectives, because I've already been hearing subtle differences where the youngest generation that's currently coming of age, a lot of them are not interested in makeup. A lot of them are rejecting fashion trends, which I guess it's kind of makes sense given the age that they're at. But it seems like there's a much stronger rejection towards the highly physical attribute oriented cultures that we came from through the 2000s and 2010s. Uh, but I also find it interesting to see the basically my generation and the ones slightly older than me, the ones that chose not to have any kids at all, and hear them also have issues with it. It's because it's interesting that they, in the last like through the 80s and 90s, they did a lot of pushing women to like, oh, delay children, go focus on your education, don't get married, like make sure you get to school and get your jobs and blah blah blah. And then a lot of the women that had did that are now hitting the wall like, I have my career but I wanted kids and now I can't. What now? Like it seems like what we even were told is something that we would have wanted is not something that everyone wanted. So I do find that interesting that it it seems like we aren't as in tune with ourselves as we think we are. Um, and this hitting the wall and realizing that we followed a pathway that didn't actually suit us is very much intertwined with that, I think, because it does seem to be that age that you get to that age and you either are like, wow, cool, I'm here. Like, I feel like I've achieved what I've wanted to and I'm happy that I'm here. Or you have the people that are like, I was told to do these things and I'm doing these things and I'm not happy. And why am I not happy? Um, so yeah, I don't know if they're directly related, but I just noticed that they are kind of happening in the same time period. So I do wonder if they're kind of related.
Sensational.
Oh, there's definitely some correlation. You know why I believe that? Because I've probably been in 3 different friend groups. And I'll tell you, this was before everything. I got to see multiple personalities at work from all 3 groups. It's like trying on shoes. Which one? They all the same size, but that doesn't mean that they fit. That's a bar. Let me give myself a
Bang, 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 bang.
So I smoked and I hung out with all 3 different friend groups. One group was the loud, we outside group. The other group was the inside video game group. They smoked too, but they just preferred to be inside. The other friend group was a mixture of outside and inside, and they smoked. So I, throughout that time frame, experimented because I was trying to figure out, where do I actually belong here? And it got to the point to where I realized that I'm an inside outside person. I prefer to be inside, but I can go out. What happens with the guys that are always outside is they always stayed into some shit. They always got into trouble, or it was always some drama with them. And on top of that, considering the personalities, I didn't click with that group. And then I had the revelation when I was on my hands and knees praying and asking God to, pull me out of where I was. And it was like, oh, all right. It took me to be around these different people to realize that this is what I don't like, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. And now it makes sense. And that happened more and more the more I started dealing with different people, dating and all that, the more I started to understand this is what I shouldn't be dealing with. This is what I shouldn't be doing. But the older and older you get, it's like, damn, I'm so programmed to think like this is what it's supposed to be. You find out the hard way, no. I think a lot of people end up that way. A lot of you, especially these ladies. The fellas, man, I'm telling you, we used to the L's. We've already done got scarred up, and I still got scars on me right now to this day from falling and scraping elbows and arms and shoulders and all that. Heartbroken, all that. We just accustomed to it. So when something unfortunate happens to us, it's like, oh well, shit. I guess I'll just try again next time, or let me go ahead and figure something else out. It is what it is. That's our thinking. All right, let's figure out another way to get back and improve on something. When that shit happened to you, yeah, you not handling it very well at all. How many dudes really get on the internet and crash out? Like really crashed out over, oh, she broke my heart. I go, oh. I'm not saying dudes don't do it, because I've done a few reactions where dudes have executed their girlfriends on Facebook Live and all types of wild shit.
It's not across the board, but I have noticed that usually when guys come on to social media to like blast their ex, it's usually after they've already had the come up. They're usually like, yeah, my wife did that to me, but I'm now remarried and have 2 kids, and she's off with unhappy because she did this to her. Like I haven't seen as many where they're like, oh, this happened and oh my God, it's all bad, and then the wife went off and has a better life than me. And like, a man will only do it when he gets like, good job. Yep, you made the right choice.
Yeah, because for real, like, I'll tell you, me personally, I won't tell you shit. I will go through hell. And I've gone through hell. And the only thing that I'm thinking about is wait until. I'm not going to say nothing to nobody. I'm just going to lock in, and then I'm going to let my results speak for me. In the back of my head, somebody made these posts be real sometimes. You think we just walked away from you because of this and that? No, we built a RICO case. He said we're building a RICO case on you. We don't just walk away from you like y'all leave us. You know what I'm saying? So when y'all get up here and y'all start complaining and calling men sassy and this, that, and the third, where are you getting your information from? Who's putting that in y'all head, man? A lot of y'all getting gassed up and lied to, and that's why you can fully functional as an adult in an adult relationship, because you're having a difficult time transitioning from the way that you were thinking to how you should be thinking now. We be telling people love a person the way they are, never change. No, you are not supposed to stay the way that you are for the rest of your life. You're always growing. That shit don't make no sense. Why would you stay with a shitty attitude or a horrible ass? Who wants to deal with someone with a horrible personality until one person goes and you got to bury it? That don't sound very fundamental for me. The So when I say Rico, okay, so the brother, it's a metaphor. What the brother was saying is, I didn't break up with you, or I didn't walk away from you because of one little argument. I walked away from you because over X amount of time that I was dealing with you, I was mentally documenting every single thing that you had done that turned me away from who you were as a person. And I finally decided that, all right, I got everything I need. You didn't want to correct any of this. You didn't want to acknowledge any of it. You kept doing it. Cool. I'm out. And I have real reason. Y'all get divorced because you're bored. You get divorced because you're on hard times. You ain't willing to suffer and share a $3 soda because that's all you got left in the refrigerator. You're not willing to catch the bus with that person every morning to get to work. You're not willing to go to therapy to find out what role you played in a situation that went wrong. You're not willing to pray. You're not willing to go to church. You're not willing to stay off of social media. The information is from a man knowing his woman. A man who really knows his woman, he does not have a problem with identifying her ups and downs. He knows when she's about to hiccup. He knows when she's about to get sick. He knows her sense with or without.
He also knows how to even address the problem in a tactful manner.
Based on who she is. Like, it's not rocket science. I don't know what. Let me ask you a question, SM. Do you just automatically assume that men just don't know women at all? I'm not specifically saying you, but like in general, from what I be reading, a lot of women think that men are slow, which is crazy to me because you're probably the more irrational thinkers, not all the time, but your emotions supersede logic a lot. A lot of relationships could be saved, but I even go as far as to say Most of them wasn't going to work anyway, just based off of who was intermingling with the other person. Bottom line is the wall exists because you're living in a bubble that doesn't actually exist at all. So you're used to getting all of these things coming to you so readily. Now it's not. You're probably used up, or you've probably been so damaged that, and it's not even the fact that you're unattractive. And then put that out there too. It's not that you're probably unattractive, it's that you're stuck in your ways. Who you are as a person mentally and all that, you're not willing to come off of that. You said this earlier, and I thought that was I gotta salute you on this. You acknowledged that you were a little annoying. You had a little I know it all type of thing. Like we can be honest, we all have our stuff. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. That is kind of like I don't want to be around somebody who's being pa- pa- patr-
Patronizing.
patronizing. Yes, that's the word. Yeah, I don't want to be around that shit all day. Unfortunately, I am kind of around that shit a lot, but like, don't nobody want to be treated like they're not equal to you. That is a huge issue. So if you want to be stuck in your own ways, go ahead. But let's see how far that gets you. Oh, I make my own money anyway. I don't need no man. I don't need this. I don't need that. Okay. You see Vivica Fox crashing out 60 years old with a BBL. What the hell?
But you see, Jennifer Aniston's still doing pretty good. And she never did any of that stuff. Most of it.
I I don't know what's going on with Miss Aniston. From the last time I reacted to something with her, she was dealing with Barack Obama. Now I don't know how true that is, but I thought she was married. I'm gonna have to spin back on that one. Yeah. Oh, we know enough. We know so much that we won't tell you. You ever heard of play dead or play dumb? That's all. That's all it is.
As my dad would say, I just let her say what she needs to. Eventually she'll stop.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, conclusion. The wall is real. The wall hits men and women. The only if we're talking about who it affects more, I don't have numbers. I don't think there's a chart for that. I am going to say it probably affects women more, but for different reasons. I think the impact is more greater on that side because dudes are getting man wigs and all that, but most of us are just going bald. We'll just cut it all off. We're not really going. Yeah, yeah. I could never pull that off. I'm sorry. That little side joint, no, no. Yeah, I'm moving away too far from. Excuse me, but it's real. It can. Is it preventable? Probably not at this point, unless you're willing to humble yourself. You know, Is there anything that you want to add to this before we conclude? I think this was pretty good one though.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Um, I think overall, I'll throw out there, it does affect everyone. I think it's just more noticeable in women than men because, unfortunately, I think women have a little bit more to lose in terms of appearance. Men don't have as much fat under their skin, so we show more sagging skin than men typically do. You also lose muscle later in life than you do lose fat. And so aging appears on women earlier and more substantially, at least in our eyes. So it's not something we can avoid, but it's not something we should be ashamed of either. One of the things that I always like to say in terms of aging, yes, of course, aging does scare me. Like, there are aspects of aging that make me afraid. Like, I would not want to lose my sight. I would not want to get a disorder or autoimmune thing, or like there's all sorts of things that can come with aging, like dentures and stuff that I'm not looking forward to. But it's our opportunity to exist as a wise being. Like, I've always found the idea of aged life very appealing because you get the chance to actually understand people from a perspective, a platform that we often don't get the opportunity to have. It's very at least to me, I think it would be really cool to have a position of wisdom, like being able to give advice and have knowledge about the world in a way that can help other people. So I feel like that's kind of how we have to see aging in the future. Like, we need to stop seeing it as like, oh, it's when my body stops working. We should see it more as like, it's the opportunity for me to start getting out there and start using the knowledge that I've acquired through my life. And we should also stop giving the idea that like your life is over. Like, you can still keep going. You can be an athlete, you can be a teacher, you can be a professor, you can be you can start a business. Like, you don't have to be 20, 30 years old to achieve the things you want to. People have published books at 70. People have as I said, there was somebody who was 104 in the Olympics. It's not the time for us to give up and say, oh, well, my life is over. There's nothing left I can do. If you're in your 60s, you could easily have another 30 years to do anything that you want. And I think that's in a nice place to be if you have taken care of yourself and are able to actually be healthy in the world and stuff. So I think it's something we need to appreciate if we have the luxury of being able to experience that. And then also, we really, really have to step away from all of this social media and business created visions for what our future should look like, what we need to look like, how we need to act, how we need to be. A lot of these different products and quick fixes that they're trying to sell us are not really meant for us. Like, they're very unrealistic. They're for a delusional version of ourselves that everyone thinks we're perfect, everyone thinks we're beautiful, everything. We don't need all that. We don't need to be like this doll, like a Barbie doll with the perfect skin and everything. Like, we're meant to be slightly unnatural, slightly abnormal, slightly different, because that's really what makes people great. Is if everyone was the same, it'd be like if everyone's seen SpongeBob, Mr. Normal, everyone thought Mr. Normal was freaky. We want to be ourselves and what we're naturally meant to be. And these companies telling us to buy products to be a certain human that doesn't match who we are is going to look unnatural. And we spend a lot of our money, a lot of our time, a lot of our whatever the reverse of anxiety is, our peace, on all this stuff that really doesn't matter. Most people don't notice except ourselves. We're really the only people that notice the makeup we put on, the clothes that we wear. And it's really not it's not worth our time and our energy to essentially make ourselves feel bad. Like when it comes down to it, it's literally ourselves accepting other people's insults towards ourselves, and we are openly insulting ourselves with other people's words, and that is something that needs to stop. It's again, it's not worth our time, it's not worth our money, and it's much better to surround yourself with people that care about you because of who you are, not because of the clothes you're wearing, the makeup you have on, because of what you can give them, what baby you can give them, whatever you think that they're gonna get out of you. It's only worth it if they care about you. So, whatever age you are, just care about yourself and surround yourself with those who do.
Sensational.
Sensational.
Wise words, wise words. I hope this helps somebody. I hope it makes sense. I hope we broke it down as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all formula ain't it. Whatever you think is working, don't care if you walk the red carpet or if you are a social media influencer. It catches up with everybody. Nobody is exempt from Father Time. Thank you all for tuning in.
I have a quick little poem I can end with if you want.
I give you the solo.
All right. All right, so this is called Woven Martyr, and it's about aging and the importance of being who we are. I am a wicker basket with a curved, smooth handle on life, attached to my organic form, woven from the threads of my ancestors with the labors of their weary hands, that shape my brand new edges into a socially palatable and eye-catching form. I am a wicker basket, as fragile as I am strong. The walls built for me stand resolute to hold in the fruits of my own labors. In attempt to keep out the critters, I use splinters from those who toss me to the ground. I am a wicker basket, made to be a carrier of gratitude and joy, giving and caring for those who use me. And I happily make myself useful, emptying myself to feed you, and letting you fill me once again, until I no longer can. Though I cannot last forever, as no one can, I shall only give until the splintering walls that made me so crumble away, leaving me behind as an organic pile of sticks, so my ancestors could become another.
And salutes on the spoken word. Love the spoken word. Always welcomed on this show. Thank you, Sydney, for that, for your message, for your time and energy. Salutes to SM. Salutes to everybody in the building. Did I miss anything? Oh, like, share. You know what? Do I have it on here yet? Let me look. Oh yeah, I do have it on here. do me a solid, man. I gotta reprogram. I'm gonna bring it back. You know which one I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah. It's all love though, man. Tomorrow we spin it back. Same time, same place. Make sure y'all locked in. Appreciate y'all for coming out. Have a nice night. Drive safe. And see y'all tomorrow, Lord willing.
Bye guys.